All right. All right, Card Nation, welcome back to another edition of Cardinal Craze. I'm your host, John. Today on the show, we have Jared Badie. Am I pronouncing that correct?
Badie.
Badie, I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
Jared, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for joining me on another edition of Cardinal Craze. Really appreciate you coming out. So how are you doing? Now, I know you're in Illinois right now. I know you're dealing with a lot of cold, a lot of difficulty with all this weather. It's starting to warm up a little bit. How are you doing overall?
I think I'm doing great. I'm in a blessed position, obviously, with the recruiting and everything like that. I definitely think that situation is ramping up for sure. So, just staying on top of that while also, living in the COVID world, restrictions with education, with sports, with everything like that. So, there's a lot of things to keep track of, a lot of things to stay on top of. But I think I'm maintaining well and having a good time, so I can't complain.
All right. Well, that's good to hear. Now, how has COVID affected your recruiting so far? And have you done any virtual tours yet?
Um, I definitely say COVID has slowed down my recruiting process. You know, Illinois, we were one of the only states in the country to not have our season in the fall. So our season is picking up in a few weeks. So with me not being able to get out my junior film at that, on par with the rest of the country, I think that slowed down a lot of schools that were looking at me, but wanted to see my progression from year to year. My coach has always told me he's like, junior year, if everything goes right, I think you have 20 plus offers by the time you're going into senior year. And I try not to look at it as a number. I just try to find it as a best fit. But definitely, I don't think I have gotten the looks that I think without COVID, I would have gotten.
Of course. And, I'm sure that your offer list is going to go up going forward. You put out some workout film a little while ago, and you actually did some workout film with your football coach in the gymnasium you were telling me about off camera.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure your recruitment's going to skyrocket from here. Now, so have you done any virtual tours yet with any schools?
Yes, I've done a virtual tour with Nebraska, Illinois, Cincinnati. I'll be having a virtual tour tomorrow with Louisville. I've done Toledo. Buffalo's coming up pretty soon. Minnesota, we've done Minnesota. And I think that's it.
Okay. Now, I know COVID has affected your training. We were actually just talking about that off camera about how, due to the weather, you weren't actually able to go outside and film and get some training film in to be able to post that and show other coaches. And you actually had to do that within the gymnasium. But how has COVID affected your training so far? And have you been able to work out with anyone in particular, or have you been mostly training with your coach?
Definitely it puts a limit on the way I can work on certain aspects of my game. I definitely think if I was able to get out on the field or in certain facilities, I'd be able to work on, more skill-based play type movements instead of right now. For the most part, I was doing mainly just lifting weights and just trying to keep my speed and agility up. I think me being a two-sport athlete, I'm in basketball season right now. So I think just playing basketball, being a two-sport athlete, that allows me to stay moving and stay, quick and agile, which that kind of feeds into my game on the football field. So it's just been limited in terms of what I can do. But I think me and my coaches, they've been really good in helping me kind of maneuver my way around it, whether it be trying to meet outside on the weekend, if the field is good, if weather permits it, or like I said, one time I needed to get some film out to the Louisville coach, and he said, I'll meet you in practice or in the gym after basketball practice and film in. So, it's at that point it was like whatever works. You know what I mean?
Yes, of course, and that's understandable. Now, who is your game modeled after the most?
I definitely say Von Miller for the most part, just in terms of I watch a lot of his speed and he's got crazy technique, and I think from my sophomore season, I wasn't really the biggest, strongest guy. I mean, I'm a tall guy, I'm a lengthy guy, but I
Mhm.
think my best attribute right now is still my speed, even though I put on 25 plus pounds over the offseason. It's still my speed. So I watch Von Miller a lot because he's definitely a speed to power guy, and he relies on crazy technique for sure. So I try to model my game after him. And obviously, I'm a Chicago kid, so I'm gonna watch Khalil Mack, one of the best in the game. But I think until that time comes when my strength is just that crazy like Khalil is,
Mhm.
harder to watch and implement because some of the stuff he does, it's inhuman almost.
It really is, and those are both great, exceptional players. Now, you had mentioned you do play other sports, basketball. What position do you play in basketball?
Um, in the high school system, I'm more of a 3-4, shooting guard or
Mhm.
small forward, power forward. But I play travel ball at AAU. That's a much faster paced game. I'm more of a combo guard, a point guard, shooting guard. I think even in both sports, I think I'm a very versatile athlete. In football, they have me doing a whole lot of things. I'm rushing the end. Um, Dropping back into coverage. Sometimes I'm playing a free safety type player. So, and in basketball, I'm guarding all five positions. I'm doing a whole lot of everything. So I think versatility is really the name of the game in my, overall athletics.
Well, that's great to hear, and I'm glad to hear that you have that versatility on defense. Now, being from Illinois, how did it feel to get the offer from Coach Dennison, and how have they told you they plan to use you on the defense?
Obviously, I was ecstatic. I was super stoked. We had been in kind of inconsistent contact before he had offered me, and I was like, man, I remember telling my mom, I was like, of all the coaches I've been talking to right now that haven't offered, I really think I want Louisville. I think that can open up a lot of things for me. And I grew up watching Lamar Jackson, and so I fell in love with Louisville and that red from there. So uh,
That's great to hear, and I'm glad that you were ecstatic to get that offer.
Yeah, for sure. Talking to Coach Denison, he sees me kind of as like a buck player, like I said, real
Mhm.
versatile player. And where he moves me around a lot. Sometimes I'm rushing the end, sometimes I'm coming from the middle, sometimes I'm dropping back in the pass, and I'm
Mhm.
more of a free safety DB type player. He really likes how I can utilize my speed and length in a lot of different ways. So he wants to take my abilities and kind of expand on them in his scheme.
All right. Well, that's great to hear. Now, are you wanting to, or are you actually planning to take any visits in the future and outside of official visits due to the NCAA kind of pushing back that dead period situation?
hmm well, in terms of taking unofficial visits with the kind of COVID dead period situation,
Yeah.
whenever it opens up and things are available, I'll definitely be taking a visit to Louisville. I'll be taking a visit to Texas Tech. I plan on doing Nebraska, Minnesota, Illinois, um, Purdue. Just I really want to get to some of those bigger schools that otherwise I wouldn't be able to get to, like within my region. You know what I mean? I want to branch
Yes, of course.
what I can see. You know what I mean?
Well, the nice part is a lot of schools give that opportunity to miss several days of school if you need to travel and check out different universities. And hopefully yours will allow it as well.
Most certainly.
Now, let's talk about your relationship with Coach Dennison. What can you tell us about Coach Dennison and kind of expand upon your relationship with any other Louisville staff members that you may have?
Um, my relationship with Coach Denison is very new for the most part because we weren't in super constant contact before he offered me, and my offer was really recent. I mean, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So it's taking steps in the right direction. But in terms of Coach Denison as a person and as a coach, I really respect him a lot. I think he's a straight shooter. He's not gonna, beat around the bush and give me and try to sell me the university and give me a whole lot of fluff. He's going to tell me the facts. He's going to tell me how he wants to use me and how he sees me in his system. And I really respect him for that. I think that's important because, in choosing a university, I want to be able to say, oh, I trust what he's telling me, and I think that what he's telling me is going to be true when I get there. So that's definitely a big thing for me. And
All right.
his, I believe his assistant Brandon, he reached out to me today, so we're
Oh, I think we lost some of the audio.
back in.
Oh, yes, you're back in. All right. So you said you were talking to Brandon?
Yeah, I was talking to Brandon, and he just reached out to me today, but we're just in the process of building a relationship, and everything's super new. But I'm really excited to get this process started.
I'm glad to hear that. And hopefully, that relationship will continue to build and grow. And yes, your offer was very new. Like you said, it's been a week and a half since they offered you. And I'm glad they have. And I'm glad you've been able to build this relationship with Coach Denison. And as you told me off screen, you've actually been talking almost daily since he's given you the offer.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, what are some of those conversations like when he talks to you daily?
Well, I think he takes the time and he takes it very importantly to, get to know me as a person. He wants to see how I'm doing on a personal level. He asks what I'm doing in terms of school. He asks me what I'm doing in terms of basketball. He's always checking in on me, seeing how I did after a game, asking how I'm playing. He really takes a step outside of football and wants to really build that relationship as a coach and player, and just person to person. I think that's important for sure. um, I admire the consistency. I really think that's important. um, and the fact that he's making an effort to reach out to me almost every day that's big for me for sure.
All right, and that's good to hear. Now, Jared, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at your current offer list, and we're actually going to be going through and ranking in a 1 through 10 scale where certain schools fall in your recruitment process. Now, that could be uh, essentially evaluated right now as how your relationship is with coaching staff
Mm-hmm.
and how you feel about the program overall. Are you ready for that?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Well, then we're going to begin with the first program on Rivals list, which is Arizona State. Now, how are you feeling about them, and where would you rank them?
I would rank them a 7. I really like the location of the university, and I definitely like the bond I have with their coaching staff as of right now. They're really they're not too in my face with the recruiting process. They're not going to hit me up every day, and they want to get me on the phone once a week, once every 2 weeks, and they want to talk and they want to show me things. They want to show me the important things, and I think that's important. I don't think that recruiting should be always, just small talk. I think it should, prioritize important things. So I like Arizona State a lot for sure.
All right. Well, that's great to hear. We move on next to Bowling Green.
Bowling Green. I actually had a teammate that went there last year, and he's currently there. So I have a little bit of ties in terms of relationship. He gives me the inside scoop on that. I'd rank them probably a 5.
Okay.
We stay in contact. It's a good school for sure, but yeah, I'll give them a 5.
All right. Well, that's perfectly fine to give them a 5. Next is Buffalo.
Buffalo. That's a newer one as well. I like the potential they have. I think they're really sitting on the same level as Bowling Green. I'd give them a 5. I like them, but it's super new, and I'm just excited to get to know what they have to offer.
Yes, of course. Now, next up is Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, I'll give them a 7. They're I like their program in general. They're really on the rise. They're really motivated, and being in not in a Power 5 conference, but ending top 10 in the country, and making the noise they have, building the culture they have. One of my childhood teammates is actually committed there, Ian Pugh. So he's using his pull to try and get me there. And I think the pull with him, I think that's important for sure, because we'd always talk about living out our dreams together and stuff like that. So I think that's important.
Oh, what was that last bit? You said you give them a what?
I'll give him a 7.
Give them a 7 as well. All right. So we move on to Illinois.
Illinois, I'll give them an 8. They're doing a great job of recruiting me. Hometown. I really like with the coaching staff change. As soon as they got into place and got set with everything, they immediately reached out to me. They immediately made sure that I knew I was a priority, and they've been coming after me hard ever since. And I really think that's important. Obviously, um, it being the key mark school in my state, I think the hometown hero aspect of it is appealing for sure. I like what they have to offer in terms of campus and facilities. So I'll give them an 8 for sure.
All right. Next, we move on to Indiana.
Indiana, they're an 8 as well. They're on their program on the rise. I love their culture. They have a mantra, LEO, which stands for love each other. I think that's super important. The coaching staff, great at developing players, and just the culture that they're bringing right now is super appealing. So they get an 8 as well.
All right. It's good to hear. How about Iowa State?
Iowa State, I'll give them a 6. They haven't been as consistent lately as of late, so I can't really speak on too much of how we're doing in terms of recruiting, but I'd say that their program is definitely enticing for sure. Iowa State's always going to be a good program. I think it's on the rise for the most part, and excited to see where that goes.
All right. That's good to hear. Now, Kent State.
Kent State, they were my first offer. I'll give them 5 just because they offered and they haven't really kept in contact since. They kind of, what they said when they offered me was, we're going to offer you because we think you're a special player and we think you're going to Ohio State or Alabama or LSU. And they were like, we want to jump in and be the first just on the off chance that we get you, but we don't think we're going to get you. So I think that's a special approach. It was a little different, but I'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's very different from what I've heard. But hey, if they can see that great potential in you, I mean, hats off to them for trying.
Yeah,
I guess would be the word.
Just a blessing to receive the offer. I
Of
was
course.
excited, and I just wanted to continue from there.
Yes, of course. And all these are blessings, definitely. Now we move on to Toledo.
Toledo, they're doing a great job. I just got off the phone with their coach, Cool, today. They're going to. I'd give them a 6. Their program, although it's not Power 5. Um, it still makes noise. I believe they finished top 25 defense, top 30. So it has a lot to offer. Their business school is great. I want to study business, so I think they have a lot to offer in that category. So I give them a 6.
All right. How about Western Michigan?
Western Michigan, that's a new offer as well. I'll give them a 6 just because we haven't had the opportunity to really talk as much as I have with a lot of these other schools. And yeah, I don't have too much to say on that because I don't know too much about them as of right now. But, the future holds a lot. So
That's very true. Now, how about Texas Tech?
Texas Tech, I'll give them an 8. I talk to their coach almost, I'd probably say twice a week. He's one of those coaches where he's not gonna hound me every day. He's gonna get me on the phone. He's gonna talk to me. He's gonna tell me different things. One of those more laid back, but still giving me the important information, stuff like that. I like him. I like the location. I like the school. I like the program. I like a lot about Texas Tech for sure. So
All right. So you're going to give them an 8. Okay.
yes.
All right. So how about Purdue?
Purdue. They've had a lot of stuff with staffing change, so I haven't had the opportunity to talk to them too much as of recently. But when they had first offered me, I think that was in the early springtime, like right when our state had gotten out of quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they were doing a great job recruiting me. Obviously, it's a great school, good program. I'll give them a 7.
All right, 7. How about Nebraska?
Nebraska, they get an 8. I honestly think they do the best job out of all the colleges I have as of right now in terms of recruiting. They're super consistent. I talk to multiple coaches every day. Um, they've made it obvious that I'm a priority to them time and time again, and I think that's important. Yeah, I talked to their head coach, Coach Frost, a lot. I talked to him, FaceTime him, I think probably once a week. So I think the fact that I can talk to Coach Frost on a weekly basis and he's going to tell me how much of a priority I am to his program, I think that's super important for sure. So, that's besides the fact that their facilities are amazing, their culture in terms of football. Nebraska is built on football, basically. So,
Yeah.
important as well. So, they,
All right. Well, that's good to hear that you have a great relationship with them and you're going to give them an 8. We move on next to Minnesota.
Minnesota, I give them a 7. Super appealing. Great education, good culture. I like the coaching staff. I think when I had lost audio, that's because a coach from Minnesota was calling me. I got to
Oh,
get after the interview, but yeah, they do a good job of recruiting me. They have a lot to offer, and I'm excited to get to see what they have to offer.
that's great to hear. Now, last but not least, Louisville.
Louisville, they're definitely an 8 as well, just because um, I like Coach Denson. I like
Mhm.
Louisville as a location. I like their culture. I like the fact that they're not a program that's going to try and sell me. I like a program that's going to give me the facts and try to get me there and get me to work hard. And I like the turnaround they've made in such a small amount of time. I was talking to Coach Denison, and think he was saying they were like ranked in the lower hundreds in the country in defense, and in 2 short years they were top 30.
Oh, yeah.
So that turnaround is obviously a testament to their situation and their system is working. So I think that's appealing for sure.
Now, let me ask you, what would push it over the top for you for Louisville? Would it be talking to head coach Scott Satterfield and the defensive coordinator Brian Brown?
I definitely think it would just be getting in contact with more coaches and just learning more with what they have to offer. I mean, I have a Zoom meeting set up scheduled for tomorrow night with them, so I think that's going to come with that. So I'm excited for that, and I'm just excited to learn about the program even more.
That's great to hear, and keep us posted on what how that goes tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
All right, so now we get into a little bit more personal information about yourself as we get to learn a little bit more about you.
Mhm.
So, what are some of your interests outside of sports?
Outside of sports, I I'm a real laid back guy. I'm hardworking for sure. I work a lot, and then so it's my whole life really revolves around church, work, sports, family, and then I just hang out with friends. I'm a
Yeah.
social person. I like to talk to people. Have good times, fellowship with people. So that's important to me for sure.
Now, since your life has kind of revolved around your friends, church, and working out,
Hmm.
do you like to play video games? Do you like to go and maybe watch other sporting events, or do you like to go kind of fishing, or is there some kind of are you good at maybe knitting? You know, um, I mean, it can be anything. Honestly, you can even tell me you're big into anime, and we could, and that's an interest. That's not, that's a hobby.
I think the biggest thing that I do with my friends a lot is we go out to a whole lot of places. We eat a whole lot of food. We like trying different types of food, and we also like watching movies. So, I mean, before this COVID situation, I mean, summers were filled with hitting up AMC and hitting up
Mhm.
sales movies and um, hitting up 2, 3 a night. So we're big movie heads for sure.
All right. Well, that's good to hear. So, do you have any hidden talents?
Hidden talents. Um, I'd say I can draw pretty good. I'm pretty
You
good.
can draw. Okay. Are you an inspiring artist outside of wanting to go for business?
No, I wouldn't say my skills go to the fact to make a career out of it, but I definitely think if I sit down and concentrate, I'll make a pretty good picture.
All right. Well, hey, that's pretty awesome. So, you kind of mentioned your favorite NFL team being the well. You actually mentioned some of the players you like, but who's your favorite NFL team specifically?
I gotta go with the Bears. I'm a
The
Chicago
Bears.
fan.
Okay.
It's tough sometimes. It hurts to be a Chicago fan, but you got to stick it out. I think it builds character.
Yeah, it's. I heard being a Chicago fan can be very trying at times, but you never know. I mean, look at Tampa. You know, I mean, they just won the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
You never know. Okay, you never know who will walk into the draft, and the Bears will get them, and next thing you know, a year or two later, even they'll do a trade, and who knows? They could be Super Bowl winners.
Exactly. You know, I think we're right there. Just a few more pieces, and I think we can make some noise.
All right. Well, hopefully it'll work out for you guys. But in the meantime, so what are some challenges you came across while living in Illinois? Were there any adversities you had to overcome?
Um, in terms of location with Illinois, I'd say weather is tough for sure. Obviously, I mean, right now we have, I want to say, probably 25 inches of snow on the ground. Winters are crazy, super unpredictable. I mean, we have extremes in every single season. Like summer, it's going to get three-figure degrees, over hundreds consistently. Winter
Hmm.
gonna be negatives. We had a cold streak, I want to say, where we were sitting for probably 3 weeks, where we were just sitting at 0 degrees to 10 degrees every day.
Oh
Um,
wow.
and we just broke it, and now we're sitting at like 20s, 30s. So that feels like 60 to us in Illinois for sure. So
That definitely does sound trying. I was going to compare Kentucky essentially to Illinois, but you just threw that right out of the water. I mean, 24 inches of snow. That's my God. I don't think Kentucky's had that in since the 1980s, maybe. I,
yeah,
I want to say. I mean, there's parts that probably have gotten a large accumulation of snow, but when you said that, I don't know why, but I started picturing Upper New York, and I was like, oh God.
yeah, it's that bad. But I definitely think in terms Illinois as well, it's a tough place to be because I think we're super strict with the COVID regulations and everything because
Okay.
Chicago being a central business hub, we kind of have to close everything down and make sure we're not like one of those hot spots like maybe Florida. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Um, we were one of two states that didn't play football in the fall. We were one of two states that um, pushed our basketball season back.
Mhm.
So I think with that, that really hurts the recruiting process. That hurts the seniors because, you know, signing days are passing and they didn't get their senior film out, stuff like that. So I think it's a trying time for them as well, and just it's just a whole lot of setbacks that people in Illinois have to overcome. So
Well, definitely there you have had a lot of adversities, it sounds like, growing up and living in Illinois, and especially, like you said, not being able to actually play senior ball. That I've heard a lot of different recruits come through and say how they were unfortunately not able to play, and that actually caused them to not get a whole lot of attention.
yeah,
Now, I'm glad that you've been getting the attention you've been getting, and you're actually going to get more attention following all these different offers going forward. Other schools are going to look at you, and
hmm
hopefully, you'll be able to walk out with 20 plus offers before the end of the year. But before then, what are some goals for this year that you want to accomplish?
I think my biggest goal is to help my team go 6-0 undefeated. In our conference, kind of schedule, we have 6 games. I want to win every single one of them. I think
Mhm.
if I can do my part and play how I know I can play and make that undefeated season happen, I think all the accolades, all the benefits that come with, being a great player, that'll come afterwards. You know what I mean? So my focus is to win, and whatever comes with it, whether that be all conference, all state, all, being raising my ranking. Um,
Mhm.
that those are taking a back burner to winning. I want to beat the team down the street, our crosstown. In our history, we've never beaten them. It's been 15 years and we're 0-15, and I want to beat them this year. I want to be a part of that team to write my name in history as the one who beat Oswego. So those are my two biggest goals going into the season.
All right. Well, I'm definitely know your ranking's going to increase going forward, and I hope for you and your team the best to beat your rival school down the road. Now, before we end, I want to ask you one final question. Do you
Mhm.
have any schools that have currently solidified a leader spot? I know we kind of talked about your recruitment a little bit, and you've ranked some of the schools, but would you say there's one that's particularly sticking out among all of them?
I wouldn't say I have a leader spot as of right now. I think it's
Okay.
bit too early in the process. You know, I've only had one season of film to get my film out. So I think with that, it's tough to really find a front runner, as well as the fact that I haven't been on any campuses. I haven't had the chance to visit anywhere, and I think that's a huge part of the process in terms of picking a school. So I think biding my time and staying patient with the process and staying on top of everything, doing my research, I think it'll come with time.
All right. Well, that sounds good. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap things up here and then we'll talk afterwards. Now, Cards fans, be sure to go follow Jared. I'm going to be putting his link in the description below. Jared, thank you so much for joining us on Cardinal Craze, telling us about your recruitment process, allowing us to get to know you a little bit more. And I really do hope the best for you going forward. And I hope your conversation with all these different coaches, especially the one from Minnesota who called just a little while ago, you have a great conversation with him. All right. But for the most part, this has been Cardinal Craze. Go Cards.
Sure.